Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's Missing, available on Amazon, coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson's double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also, Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David through the Psalms he wrote, 30 exquisite paintings, and his life story. Check out the Sweet Psalmist on Amazon, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and check out the MikeWagnerShow.com, 40 podcast platforms, and over 100 countries. We're here with an amazing baritone saxophonist, Dallas-based jazz musician, and began his career rooted in jazz and holding a bachelor and master's in music performance in jazz studies from UT Arlington, and served as a grad teaching assistant, teaching jazz theory and combos as well. He performed with Arturo Sandoval, Jim Faddis, and Bob Mintzer, and the likes. He's currently adjunct professor at UT Arlington and TCU, and also fixture in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, also playing with the Dallas-Fort Worth Jazz Orchestra, Memphis Brass, and also his own trio. And he's got his own release called Miss the Boat, featuring title track and more. Live, ladies and gentlemen, plus twos in beautiful downtown Dallas, the amazing baritone saxophonist, Dallas-based jazz musician. And this guy did not miss the boat, and he certainly didn't miss the beat. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Mike Morrison. Mike, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Well, it's great to have you on board as well, too, Mike. So you're a baritone saxophonist. You're a Dallas-based jazz musician. You began a career rooted in a jazz tradition, holding a bachelor's and master's degree in music performance with an emphasis on jazz studies from UT Arlington. You served as a graduate teaching assistant, teaching jazz theory and combos. Also, you perform with Arturo Sandoval, Jim Faddis, Bob Mintzer, and the like. You also are currently an adjunct professor at UT Arlington and TCU, and you're a fixture in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You've been playing with the Dallas-Fort Worth Jazz Orchestra, Memphis Brass Band, and your own trio. And you've got a new release called Miss the Boat, featuring title track, Impermanence, and Ferguson's song, Blues for HM, Diane, Taco Cat, and more. And before getting all that, Mike, tell us how I first got started.
I kind of got started, and like most of the kids that I knew, you'd pick a kind of a elective class that you wanted to do once you left elementary school going into middle school. And so my dad listened to a lot of classic rock when I was a kid that involved a lot of saxophones. And I remember listening to the Doobie Brothers quite a bit, and just music like that involved saxophonists. And that just, I don't know, something about it intrigued me. And I'm like, I want to play the saxophone. And so that's what we did in the sixth grade. Went and got my first saxophone, and that's how it kind of got started. They weren't big jazz listeners. My dad. It was mostly rock bands that it had saxophones. I remember hearing Pink Floyd's Money, anything with Bob Seger, the Doobie Brothers. Those were the first saxophone players that I heard growing up, and like, okay, I think I want to do that.
And another one makes me think of is Supertramp as well, too, and a little bit of Styx. Yes.
Yeah, Supertramp. My dad had all those records. I remember that one very well because I tried to play along with all that stuff as a sixth and seventh grader, not even knowing, what kind of saxophone it was they were playing. I didn't know if it was an alto or tenor. I just knew it was a saxophone. And so like, I want to play that stuff. I think I was the only one out of my friends that was interested in that. They were just in band to be in band.
It sounds rather amazing as well, too. And what was that one exact precise moment that simply influenced you into what you do in the rest of your career?
Probably a junior year of high school. I did a book report on Charlie Parker. And the more I kind of got into Charlie Parker, reading about his life and how he was so determined at such a young age and knew at 14, 15 years old he was going to play saxophone, that did it for me. And we didn't have the internet then, so getting to hear those classic recordings was really difficult. Then you had to go hunt and search for vinyl LPs and listen to it, and they were like gold to me. I still have them, and I would just listen to those constantly. Like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do.
You talked about Charlie Parker. Have you seen the movie Bird?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's such a great performance by Forrest Whitaker, and based on a book by Ross Russell called Bird Lives. Seems like it's practically taken from that book, which I think he was Charlie Parker's record producer in California at the time. What a great movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It certainly is, and got a lot of critical acclaim and everything else. And besides Charlie Parker, who are some other favorite saxophone players growing up?
I listened to Charlie Parker like all through high school. Um, I played alto so much, but then right around my sophomore year, someone had played a record for me called Live at Jimmy's, the Maynard Ferguson band, Live at Jimmy's.
Oh yeah, Maynard Ferguson, one of my
Yeah.
favorites. Oh my
And
gosh.
they had a baritone saxophonist named Bruce Johnston, and he blew me away. I'd never heard anybody play baritone sax like that before. And so he's playing on MacArthur Park. Uh, that was the particular solo, and I knew, like, okay, I'm changing. I have to play baritone sax.
Mm-hmm.
I want
Another
to play
one of
like it.
the another one of the players I thought of it just came off the top of my head was Clarence Clemens from the E Street Band. That name
Oh
just jumped
yeah,
out in front of me.
yeah. He was one that I heard as a kid, and just command up in the upper register of the horn. All those rock sax players they're really something. I don't know, they did it for me. That's how I would have never heard about saxophone it wasn't for that. Because my parents weren't listening to jazz. And so that was such a nice gateway, into jazz because once you study one, you find their influences and it takes you to the next one and the next one and the next one.
And
So
then so on and so on and so on and so on. Yes, indeed. Another
yeah.
good saxophone player I had on my show is Scott Page. He played
Oh,
with
yeah.
Pink Floyd, Supertramp, and quite a few others, and he was one of the best ones out there too. Scott Page.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yes, it is. And of course, don't forget Chicago as well, too. That name
Oh.
is jumping out. I'm getting like so many names are just jumping out. We're talking saxophone players. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And hearing Bruce Johnston with Maynard Ferguson, that led me down a whole different route of realizing that, Maynard Ferguson to trumpet players is such a huge name, but his saxophone players that he had were they're just world class, like every band he had. And so you'd start hearing about Dennis de Blasio, you'd hear about Pepper Adams, you'd hear about Ronnie Cuber, all the great baritone players, all the ones that they have the unique, them from two notes, like a Scott Page from two notes with Supertramp. You're like, oh yeah, that's him.
Mm-hmm.
Or oh, it's Alto Reed with Bruce with Bob Seger. It's got to be Alto Reed. No one plays like that.
Uh-huh. And certainly a lot of greats as well, too. And you're getting up in the ranks as well. And you got a new release called Miss the Boat featuring a title track, and get more on that with Mike Morrison. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Malson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Malson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love me to first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Malson-Zia has gone great reviews in Eve 11 and George by Howard celebrities, including Jordan Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for It Goes Missing by Mia Malson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon to Amazon too. Amazon Missing 2 by Mia Malson-Zia. Double suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also, Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by A Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, including 30 exquisite paintings in King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives a new perspective of David to the Psalms he wrote. His time as a shepherd and his complicated yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Make sure you check out The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner. Keyword, Sweet Psalmist. Serene Wagner on Amazon. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, 40 podcast platforms, heard 100 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Spreaker, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and all socials. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out our merchandise, t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, Amazon.com/Mia Molson Zia for great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Well, here's the amazing baritone, saxophonist, style-based jazz musician Mike Morrison here on the Mike Wagner Show. We'll be talking about Miss the Boat featuring the title track and more. And of course, we rattle off some of the great saxophone players that influence you. You also perform with some of the, great ones. Arturo Sandoval, John Faddis, Bob Mintzer, and more. Tell us more about those.
Well, it ended up being a big band that was put together just because it's guys that just wanted to get together and play with one another. And so we did that every Sunday at a little club in Deep Ellum called Buzz Brews. And we would get together. I played in the same sax section for over 10 years, the same five guys.
Okay.
And every Sunday we would meet and just read tunes. But it's just a fabulous band, world-class musicians. And the guy that was running it, trumpet player, don't know where the money came from, but he certainly could bring in players of the caliber of John Faddis at least 3 times, Arturo Sandoval, Bob McChesney. He's brought in every trumpet player of worth that's alive. I mean, I probably recorded on 27 or 28 different recordings. It's interesting. I only missed one, and it was with James Morrison, when he brought James Morrison into play. And so our joke was, well, on all 28 recordings, there's always been a Morrison on there. So I missed that James was there. So. But he brought Tom Harrell. I mean, just you name the trumpet player, he brought him in. And we would just go in and record. And so that's how I got to play with so many of these great players, just by going and wanting to play on Sundays, getting together with your friends.
And plus, not only you play, saxophone on Sunday nights, and you record on occasion as well too. You're also an adjunct professor at UTA and TCU, and tell us more about those.
Yeah, it's where I got my degrees from, my undergrad and my grad degree, and my saxophone teacher, Tim Ishii, started studying with him in 1991, and took me forever to get a bachelor's degree.
Doesn't everybody nowadays? But thanks to online, you can still take your time, not feel guilty about it.
Hey man, I took my time. If anybody wants to know how to drag it out about 18 years, give me a call. But I did.
I think I'll join you one day.
But I got so good when I went back to finally finish it up. I figured, what's another couple of years for a master's degree? Let's go ahead and knock this out too. And so, and it was my same teacher is running the whole department then. So, known the guy over 30 years, and as soon as I graduated, he hired me on as part of the team. So it's been great.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing! And plus, you also play with the Dallas Fort Worth Jazz Orchestra, the Memphis Brass Band, and you got your own trio.
Yes, yeah, working trio, quartet. It just depends on who's available, and then we alter the music to fit the instrumentation that we're going with that night. The Memphis Brass Big Band is another one of those. Every other Mondays we meet in Addison, just north of Dallas, in a club called Memphis, and we read big band tunes and play, and have been doing that for, I think it's going on 7 or 8 years, and it's the same guys that were in the other band, was called the Rebel Alliance Jazz Ensemble, and it's the same saxophone section. Some of these guys I've known since high school.
Oh my goodness!
The second alto and myself, we were in Texas all-state band together back in 1986. So we've known each other a long time, played together a very long time. So it's funny when you can work with guys that you play with guys that you've known that long. You kind of know how each other thinks, and it just makes the section work so much better.
And of course, you got yours working better as well too with "Miss the Boat." You feature in the title track, Impermanence, you got Ferguson's Song, you got Blues for HM, Diana, and also I like this one, Taco Cat. Tell us
Yeah,
about those.
that's for my cat. His name was Little Buddy or Blue Kitty. He had blue eyes, is all white, and I just he anything I was eating, he would jump up and sit right next to me and want to eat what I was eating. And tacos, I'm like, what are you, a taco cat? You want to eat my
or,
taco?
or spell it backwards. Taco
That's the
Cat.
other
Yeah.
thing. It's the same thing. So he was the inspiration for Taco Cat. It's a rhythm changes tune, but I named it after our cat.
And plus you had the title track as well too to Miss the Boat. Tell us more about that. And how'd you come up with the name Miss the Boat?
Well, Miss the Boat is kind of a contrafact of a Cannonball Adderley tune called Arriving Soon. And so it kind of borrows the same harmony and chord structure, but has a different melody. And so I just thought it was interesting that if Cannonball was arriving soon, then maybe I missed the boat. So just kind of the name came up. Jason asked me like, hey, we had done a recording previous and hey, do you want to record a trio or quartet? I was like, I would love to. He's like, it needs to be all original music. And so um, this was a great opportunity to get to record some of my music that I had written.
And plus, you also did Impermanence as well too. Tell us more
Yeah.
about that one.
Wrote that was inspired by my older sister Diana. She's not with us anymore, and it's just that melody and the title, just a reminder to me that things aren't permanent. Not everything's going to be around forever. It was kind of written a while back in a different time of my life. And also the ballad Diana that's on there, that's written for her. And both those songs were written um, many years ago, probably about 12, 15 years ago. They were the ones that I already had written, but I'd never performed them. Never. Just had them written. Just wrote them for myself and never really performed them up until we recorded, which was interesting because the two other musicians, Mike Luzecki and Matt Young, the bassist and the drummer, I know them from Dallas. They're great players. We've never played together. And so we met up in the studio that morning. I gave them the chart and we read that tune down one time. That's a first take.
Oh my goodness.
We talked about what it was about, what I wanted. We played it one time. We looked in the control room and Jason's like, I think we got it. And that's all we did on that was one take through.
Oh my gosh, that had to be something. It's rare to get one takes these days.
It is. So. I'm very proud of that song on there.
And certainly did. You have Ferguson's Song and also Blues for HM. Tell us more about those.
Well, Blues for HM is a blues I wrote for my wife, Holly Morrison. So Blues for HM, I was like, I can't write the cat a song and not my wife a song. So she has to get one too, or else maybe I don't have a wife to write a song for anymore. So let me write one for her. Ferguson's Song, that's for an old mentor of mine who always seemed to get my name wrong. And so he was, hey, what's going on, Ferguson? I was like, it's Morrison. And so like, okay, let me write a song to commemorate that.
or you yell, hey Fergie, what's up?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so these were all but well, I was going to say all but Impermanence and Diana. I kind of wrote those all on a Sunday afternoon, which was really rare to just come in and get that down on paper and then get over and record that. Like I said, Impermanence and Diana, I had written already and thought this is the perfect time to record those. I guess I wasn't ready to record them before, but I sure was when this opportunity came up. So,
and certainly as well too. And if there's other music that we haven't discussed, feel free to do so.
Well, I'm still working on maybe another recording, but working more in a quintet setting instead of the trio this time.
Okay. All right. We'll certainly talk more about that. We're here with Mike Morrison and more on Miss the Boat. We'll find out just 1 minute what's coming up with Mike. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's Missing. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, available on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. We'll be back with the multi-talent baritone saxophonist, Dallas-based jazz musician Mike Morrison after this time on. We're back to the multi-talented baritone saxophonist, Dallas-based jazz musician Mike Morrison of Missed the Boat here on the Mike Wagner Show, and just a couple more things. Where can we find Missed the Boat at?
You can find that at any show that I'm playing here in the area. I'll be playing this Friday at the Scat Jazz Lounge in downtown Fort Worth in a quintet setting with my mentor, Tim Ishii, doing two baritones and rhythm section. And so I'll have some records there. You can also go to the Lucky Buck record website, Jason Vandergriff's. I'm sure they're available there as well. And I usually have them with me when I'm out playing, performing.
Okay, and how about your website?
My website, I believe, is still under construction as a Lucky Buck artist. And as soon as that's up, they're going to be available on that website as well.
Okay, we'll certainly check that out as well,
Yeah.
too. We're with the multi-talented Mike Morrison of Missed the Boat here on Mike Wagner Show. I'll play a song or two from his release at the end of the audio interview. We encourage you to do that. And just a couple more things besides, working with a quintet, getting it together, writing for a quintet. What else can we expect in 2025 and beyond, Mike?
It's a lot of quintet playing is going to happen in 2025, a lot more writing. This inspired me just to continue writing. And I really want to explore kind of the Donald Byrd, Pepper Adams type quintet, mid 60s kind of playing that was going on then. It's a little more soulful, still, I guess you would call it hard bop, but a little more soul into it as well. And so those are some of my recordings that really, really inspired me the most is the Donald Byrd and Pepper Adams. And I'd like to write more within that style and present that a lot more this year.
Okay, well, certainly check that out. And we're looking forward to that. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
The biggest would be Pepper Adams, the baritone saxophonist from Detroit. Just the way he, no nonsense player, came out with his own style and never apologized for it. And what you heard is what you got, and that's rare these days. And you can tell him from one note on the instrument, and I admire him so much, and try to pattern my writing, my playing, just my vocabulary that I use. He's a huge inspiration in my playing.
Mm-hmm. And certainly one of the best in business as well. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
As a musician coming up,
Anything.
anything. I would, if you're trying to play this music, then I would suggest actively listening to it as much as you possibly can, because it's a language that you're trying to learn, and whether you're not going to be playing to an audience full of musicians, you're playing to people that love music, and they will understand the language that you're speaking, whether it's a good language or it's not good, and they'll know the difference. And so don't always think you're just playing for musicians. You need to appeal to a larger audience than that. So actively listen.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really good point as well, too. A lot of us should be doing that these days here. With the multi-talented Mike Morrison of Missed the Boat, baritone saxophonist, Dallas-based jazz musician here on the Mike Wagner Show. Mike, if everybody, thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having you soon. Keeps us up to date. Keep in touch. We'll laugh to have you back. Once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your music?
We can go to Lucky Buck Records. Looking back here, it's luckybuckrecords.com. The album should be available through the website. Michael Morrison Jazz or Low B Flat Publishing should be up and running soon as a website, and the albums will be available through there as well. I believe we're also working on a digital format to get these out. So stay tuned.
We definitely will do so. Once again, Mike, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you soon. Keeps us up to date. Keep in touch. We'll laugh to have you back. We wish you all the best. And Mike, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it. This is very enjoyable.